Yeah,
Oh.
that happened.
The double reason for calling you.
Time has a different.
Do you need me to bring you your walker or your cane?
I'm just happy there.
Okay, great.
I call it my stroller. I haven't.
There you go.
Yeah.
My mom's is a treadmill.
Following all those businesses. That time universe. Yeah.
Everything seems to be working great today.
Yay.
Can you see us? Yeah.
I can see you, hear you now that the microphone's on. Everything's great.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to yell at my puppy not to make noise. So if I mute myself, it's because I'm yelling at the dog.
No. Gerald is actually up there with my nose pressed to the screen.
All right. I'm ready to go live.
Hi.
Okay, we got 2 minutes officially, right?
This is one here.
Huh?
It
We can go.
could be-
Yep.
We can go.
Yep.
I noticed it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, let's call the meeting to order. Roll call to start with.
All right. Beth Campbell, absent at this time. Oh,
I'm on.
sorry, Beth. Hi.
Hi.
Joan Cooley,
Here.
Christina Minetti,
I'm here.
and Glenn Spieth.
Here,
You have quorum.
any announcements or changes to the agenda?
I do not, I'm sorry.
Okay. Approval of minutes for September 22nd and October 27th.
To do them one at a time.
Okay. For September 22nd. That's 2022. So, yeah, hey. Can't see. Okay, anybody want to give me a recommendation on the minutes? Joan?
Move the minutes be approved as presented.
Okay. Any seconds? Christina?
I was just trying to look at it. I haven't thought of it for a long time, so I guess I could second it. I mean, it looks okay, right?
Yeah. Okay, minutes for September 22nd. All those that approved the minutes, say aye.
I
Aye.
yeah, big I.
Okay. Minutes are approved. October 27th, 2022 minutes. Need a motion?
Move the minutes for October 27th be approved as presented.
Okay. Christina, you want a second?
Sure. I second that.
Okay. Minutes for October 27th have been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
I
Okay. Okay, any public comments?
Is there anybody online? No one?
No one's online.
Okay, so no public comments tonight. We do have a public hearing. And I will declare the public hearing open. Everybody present that will be given an opportunity to be heard. Prior to speaking, individuals must state their names and addresses. The chairman will state that, I will state that Christina Minetti and I visited the site, Lakewood Gardens, took the tour. Saw the project firsthand, January 9th, 1 o'clock and thereafter. And we saw the current conditions of the carriage house and understand the context of the proposed changes. So has everybody reviewed their package? You reviewed the information?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I'll request that the staff make its presentation and then invite the applicant and representatives to say their piece. So Josh,
Word. Christina, can you see the presentation on your screen?
Yep, I sure can.
Yep, I've got it.
Okay, so we have a public hearing on February 9th for the Lakewood Gardens Carriage House, type 2 certificate of appropriateness. It's a pretty lengthy project, so I broke it into different elements. So starting off with the landscape and hardscape, the plaza asphalt was replaced with concrete, the gravel paths with either re-gravelled or paid for ADA accessibility. Improved historical marker area with gravel and minor movement of the marker. Removing the southwest asphalt rain garden, minor alteration for the parking area. The carriage house is where my cursor is. And then the goat house is also.
okay, could I make one question or comment?
Yes.
The historical marker,
Yes.
where is that going to be moved to?
As I understand it, in
Within 8 or 10 feet of where it is now.
What I would suggest is that it be placed so that the sun doesn't have a direct influence on the picture. Because it looks like it's getting deteriorated.
Okay.
They're supposed to be UV protected, but who knows? It will last longer if it's out of direct sunlight.
Okay.
So I'd suggest that you move it so that it can be seen from a different direction.
As I understand, currently it's really not accessible. It's on a gravel path or gravel walkway, so they're paving it and placing the marker on a new approved area to be more visible, as I understand.
Correct. And it'll be easy to orient it any direction
Okay,
because it'll.
well,
be
just
access
keep
all
that in
around.
mind when you do that.
Okay.
Right, for the actual carriage house, we're reconstructing the 800 square foot upper floor addition with siding, trim, windows, features, and materials that match the historical photograph from 1925. Replace the 412, the existing 412 slope roof with the more historical 12 by 12 slope roof. Restore and replace exterior 8-inch forward siding as needed. Restore sliding carriage doors. As you can see here where my cursor is. Reconstruct collapsing exterior wall with in-kind materials. They couldn't use the same materials because of lead. So they're going to be replacing it or proposing to replace it with in-kind materials. And then construct a approximately 261 square foot main floor addition for office, small kitchen, restroom. That would be in this area.
Opposite side,
Oh, opposite side.
right above there, right above, right there.
Right
Yep. Yep.
There we go. All right. The goat house is constructed 281 square foot goat house, which is a comfort structure to replace the existing porta potties on site. You can see the floor plan here and the elevations. The landmark listing history was first designated back in 2002 by Elham. The nomination application called the carriage house the Old Stables, used for storage and as a garden shop. No specific carriage house historic features were detailed in that nomination application. On the National Register of Historic Places, described the carriage house as the Alexander's built an L-shaped carriage house in 1918. It served as a garage and horse stable. The main elements is that it was retained its original sliding carriage doors and original wood windows. Building has a gable roof covered in asphalt shingles and clad with 8-inch white clad siding. So those will be considered more the historical elements of the carriage house. With the National Register nomination, they broke it also into elements. They had landscape elements. On the blue cursor, here is the carriage house. There were no landscape elements associated with the National Register for this location. For building elements, the carriage house is listed here. For again, original sliding carriage doors, which they're proposing to restore. Original wood windows, which the project will restore, but historically add historically appropriate removable wood storm windows for energy efficiency. And the 8-inch wide clap siding they attempt to restore when they can, but due to lead, replacement with in-kind materials might be required. Lastly, it was also listed for champion trees. As I understand, champion trees are basically the trees that, for their species, are one of the biggest ones in this state. And the closest one here is the Acer palmatum here at number 1, which is closer to the goat house. It is obviously this was nominated long time ago now, and those trees might not even be there. It is not clear from the photographs if that's still a champion tree location. So certificate of appropriateness criteria, LHAB has adopted the Secretary of Interior standards for treatment of historic properties for using, reviewing, and making decisions on a certificate of appropriateness application, specifically using the rehabilitation criteria. I have provided a response to all those criteria in the staff report. And since it was detailed, I didn't want to go through each one of those right now. Staff finds that the proposed project is compliant with the Secretary of Interior's standards for rehabilitation, subject to 2 conditions. 1, no champion tree shall be removed for the proposed goat house. No tree shall be removed without a tree removal permit, reviewed and approved by the City of Lakewood Development Services. Secondly, an inadvertent discovery plan shall be kept on site during all ground disturbing activities. That is my presentation.
Okay.
I'll keep it up though.
At this time, I'd like to call on the applicant to make any comments, presentations, whatever you would like to say at the moment.
Wow. I'm not sure what you want to hear. It's a pretty exciting building to renovate and bring back. The original dates were 1910 for the first wing, and then the addition around 1920-ish. And then we believe in the 80s, the second floor, the upper floor was taken off the original wing. And our goal is to bring that back to circa 1925 condition, making all the garage doors operable, maintaining a lot of the interior spaces. There's a lot of the interior beadboard that exists. We're trying to keep all that. Lead paint is throwing us a bit of a curveball in that respect. We're bringing back the upper floor in-kind materials. We're managing to put back windows on the upper floor that will match the historically original windows that would have been up there. Bringing back the original roof with wood shingles. We're going to have wood gutters on the building. So it will hopefully look, if you could go back in time, as 1925. The activities in the building, the original garages, the 1910 wing, the original wing is currently the gift shop, and it'll remain a gift shop in that space. That'll be pretty much unchanged except for the entry and making those sliding doors operable. Right now, they built a vestibule that we're taking out, and we're building a new kind of vestibule to make that work. The 1925 edition, which added 4 more bays, that'll be turned into sort of an activity space for community activities, for lectures, talks, hands-on activities, whatever in the what was the horticulturalist office, which was likely the mechanic's office at the time. That'll be a smaller workshop for more hands-on activities. At one point, we'd wanted to bring back the upper floor as a artist in residence, but a lot of code requirements didn't make that work because of the area separations required. And it seems to make sense now that the artist in residence will probably be moved to the Wagner House, and offices will be moved upstairs. So from the exterior, it'll look exactly like the residential component that it was, but inside upstairs, there'll be offices now. One accommodation we had to make that was not original was putting a flight of stairs to get to that original stair landing off of the service road in the back, so that one could directly access the offices upstairs without having to go through the administration. Any other questions, concerns?
I don't have any.
I could go on forever.
Is there any members of the board that would like to ask questions or comment on anything? Christina
Very
or,
exciting project for me.
Thank
yeah,
you. We're very excited by it, and it will certainly expand our capacity to do programming for the community greatly.
I was thinking that.
Yes, and especially with our partnership with Clover Park School District is going to be a great asset in that programmatic activities. We're having every fifth grader come to Lakewood Gardens in the whole entire district.
Wow. Will it relieve some the space for a lecture space in that building? Will it be large enough to relieve some of the traffic in and out of the Wagner House?
Yes, as you may have noticed, we've increased programmatic activity greatly, even during the pandemic. We currently do rent out still the Wagner House for weddings and other community activities, but we also use it for art shows for our local artists. And the demands on the Wagner House space are a lot.
Horrendous, I'm sure.
And so having the extra space in the carriage houses will be a great help to us.
And I think architecturally, in the history of American architecture, it's a significant building, some might argue, because it's that transition between the horse and the carriage and the car. And we're not sure if there were actual horse-drawn carriages in there originally, 1910, 1908, there might very well have been. But by the 1920 edition, clearly the car won that battle. So it's really a transition piece of architecture, which I find really cool.
And also, it's the first building you see when you come into our property. And right now, it's not.
It's very.
It looks a little sad.
Yes, that's very true.
okay, Christina, did you have any comments?
Well, like you mentioned, you and I both were there on the tour, and I really would like to say that I was very impressed with the care that went into thinking of all the details. I'm very fond of old houses and buildings myself, and I live in a 1914 house, so it's the same era. So it was interesting for me also from that perspective. So I'm really glad that you're doing it, and I just want to tell you thank you for taking such good care for all the details to keep everything as authentic as it could be, because I think that's really important.
Thank you. Thank you. We do agree with you.
For my comments, I think it's a good example of what should be done with historical restoration. And you will probably be kind of the blueprint for any projects going forward that'll be similar. And
It would certainly be nice if it had that impact.
yeah, I think it will. One project I'm thinking of was the Mueller-Harkins Airport hangar, which we failed to know about the demolition that they were forced by the state to do without knowing about the historical preservation activities that could be done. So they took all the interior components, they left the supporting beams and the roof and gutted everything and then built up a new interior and exterior. And it's possible sometime in the future they may be able to restore it back to what it looked like on the exterior. It's been pretty well documented. So that would be one thing I could hope to happen at some point in time, but hard to say. Schools are short of money nowadays, so may not be possible. Are there any other comments? Beth, did you have any comment?
Well, I really like the program. It looks really good. And I really appreciate the way that the little bit of new stuff is things to make things more ADA accessible. And it looks to me like what the family would do if they were still living on the property. So I think it looks really good, and I appreciate you guys keeping it. It's the best way to maintain a historic structure is to use it, and so this should get a lot of more continued good use from Lakewood and friends of Lakewood that come visit us. So, and I like going to concerts in the Wagner House. That's always kind of fun.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Thank you. The next one is April 9th.
All right.
Glenn, I really appreciated what you said about this project being like a primary project for our city to keep in mind as they approach or as we hear about things that need upgrading, updating, or rehabbing, as the case may be. And I think one of the things that would be helpful to Lakewood, since we have no newspaper, as you were so well aware, is for you to write updated articles through the Suburban Times,
Yes.
even with sketches and photographs. And I think that will pique people's interest as the project moves along.
Yeah.
Not to just do a beginning and an end, but to do one when there are, let's say, visual changes that people can see that work is taking place, that will increase interest and have a purpose for reminding people of Lakewood and what's happening.
Yes, we should do that. Thank you. Yes.
I think there's the intention to have a webcam set up
Oh, that would be great
all
fun.
through construction.
That would be great fun. And that would interest kids too,
Yes.
I think.
Is there a way to time sequence?
I worked on a
Thoughts to have
project where it took 13 months and they broke it down to 20 minutes.
Wow.
Just saw stuff. And it was really funny. At one point, the guy in charge of the camera gets up there and he's trying to get these pigeons. And you see his like head in there for the longest time. They started to nest around it, but you saw the whole building go up and just time lapse. It was amazing.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that would be an interesting thing
Yeah, that would be
Absolutely.
for
great.
future.
Yeah.
It's like watching birds in a nest and you see the eggs, you know,
Yeah.
until they fledge.
Yeah. Yes. Well, we can probably do that.
Good luck.
Okay, are there any other comments tonight on this subject? Hearing none, I will declare the public hearing closed. It's now time for the board to discuss
You're fine.
this.
Stay for your time.
Just
Or you can go.
so, anybody on the board have any final comments before we vote?
None here.
Beth,
Nothing from me.
okay. And I have none, but I do appreciate the effort going into this, and I think you're on the right track. And I would venture to say that my vote would be to approve this. And those others want to make any comments on their vote? You're free to do so now. Beth, do you want to?
I don't, are we voting?
Yeah,
We have to.
somebody want to make a nomination?
I move that LHAB approve the proposed restoration project at Lakewood Gardens. Now,
With you're okay with the staff conditions of approval?
Yes,
Include.
and approve the staff conditions for approval.
did you get that, Karen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
That's Beth.
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Why?
Aye.
Four approved. So it's approved.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for hard work. Wow.
Thank you.
Oh, and thank you to staff for putting together the nice concise presentation with the pictures.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
You bet.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
We'll be in touch.
Okay.
All right, I'm looking forward to the webcam now.
Yeah. By the way, when's the finish date? Yeah. Do you have something projected yet?
Well, it was going to be the end of this year.
Yeah, it could be the end of this year, run into the beginning of next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually get everything
Oh, that's
finished.
not bad.
Yes.
It always takes longer than you think. So
I
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I know.
We'll shoot for Christmas.
that would be wonderful.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Continuing on, reports by the Historic Preservation Officer or staff.
Yeah, so starting off, I provided a memo going over the new items, or I guess items we've been discussing about for last year. A Lakewood touring map update. I am continuing reaching out to the Nisqually tribe. I would hoping to have a meeting within the next week to get their input. I have no additional information on the touring map. Not been able to get a whole contact with the Clover Park school district even.
If there's a way you can economically shoot me a copy of the map that I put in.
Mhm.
And, you know, it can be disjointed. Don't have to make a full-size copy or any of that, but
We can
in
get
case
some.
I don't, in case I can't find my original. I got so many piles of papers, and I've kept everything since this group was organized. So I got a lot of paper, yeah. And the city council and the planning advisory committee and the planning commission also. Okay.
The LHAB 2023 work plan was approved January 17th. There wasn't any changes. But just to reiterate, the city council is hoping that the board can work with other boards to accomplish some of the tasks. And then lastly, the heritage tree code, it goes into effect March 1st. It includes an update to the LHAB chapter, the protection and preservation of landmarks. The heritage tree designation and nomination will be the same as the Lakewood landmark and community landmark designation and nomination process. City council will also have the final authority on approving a nomination for the historic or heritage tree. For a nomination, the heritage tree applications will require a short description, reason for designation, and an arborist report identifying the current conditions of the tree and maintenance needs. I attached the the changes to the protection and preservation code to the memo. And again, those go and fetch March 1st, and we can start accepting applications then.
Okay, is that on the website?
Yes, it's on the tree code website under the ordinance. Once it goes live, March 1st, it'll be in our municipal code website. And we are working together free applications that will be on our website. The historical website. All in process.
Okay, unfinished business, Lakewood touring map.
That was mostly just to discuss next steps.
Mm-hmm.
How, if I can't get a meeting with the Squaw Tribe, if we want to just move forward, if you want to give a timeline. I know we've been kind of stuck with the touring map for over 6 months now. So
Well, since 2015, I think was the last update. So
Right.
it's been,
but specifically waiting on coordination, it's been
Yeah.
a long
Yeah.
time.
yeah,
So just seeing if there's any direction about moving forward if we can't get coordination scheduled.
Everyone had an opportunity to make corrections and everything.
Yeah.
And they were just waiting for some sort of collaboration with the Nisqually tribe. So if we don't get it, are you all in agreement that it's time to move forward?
If I can't get a example is within the next month, I don't have a meeting scheduled. We should move forward with getting the changes done.
okay. And
Direction.
if you have anything special that comes up, feel
Right,
free to
because we're
have.
going to do a draft
Okay,
and then
and
see
then-
everyone get looked at one last.
okay. Because it might be that we, with the draft, have another minor update.
Right.
Now, got to be sure that you use the 2015
The larger one
Yeah.
with the more
Yeah.
37 or 38
because
sites.
our last time it was printed, they printed the old version, the 13 one,
Mhm.
and it's a little out of date. So this one will be the 2023 version or the next date in sequence.
Mhm.
So it's good to have another look-see and maybe a month's time to have any further updates because things are changing all the time.
Right.
And I've been trying to look at new historical roads that are not on the map. And we've covered the bulk of them. Except we got complaints about Bridgeport being the historical name and the current name, and why do that? So I know Stilica Boulevard has a number of names. It was probably an Indian trail originally, then it was a military road, then it was the Bird Mill Road. And I don't know if there's any other iterations before it became Stilica Boulevard, but
I don't think I need any motion, but I just want to make sure that all board members have a chance to comment if they're okay with the month.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So if we have any comments, we got to get them submitted in the month between meetings when we get it. And then we'll come back in and submit our changes and go from there.
Sounds good. I'm
Okay.
surprised we haven't gotten anything back from the tribe, but we tried several times, so
Yeah.
A lot of emails.
Yeah, a lot of emails.
Okay, new business.
So.
They'll have chair and vice chair nominations. Is there anybody who would like to become the chair? I have no problems continuing if unless somebody wants to take it from here.
I think Mr. Spieth is a great chair, and I propose that Mr. Spieth remains in his position as chair.
And anybody that wants to become vice chair? Any nominations? I think Christina's been pretty active member, so,
Great.
and I don't,
Nominate
I
her.
cannot.
okay, Beth,
my
you
name is
interested?
just Too terrible.
I've done it before. I
Yeah.
don't mind. I'll do it again. But I'm.
You can
I'm happy
nominate
that
yourself.
Christina wants to do it.
I nominate Beth Camp as vice chair.
Joan nominates Beth, so you'll have
You
to
know,
take a vote on each position one at a time. So you'll have to do the vote for the chair.
okay, and I would nominate Christina for vice chair again, if she's willing
Is she
to
vice chair now?
do that. And we'll have a vote and see what comes out.
Thank you. I'd be glad to continue.
Okay,
I'm happy for Christina to continue as well.
okay,
Okay.
Oh, Beth, thank you, Beth.
Withdraw my nomination. Beth,
Okay.
I'm going to withdraw my nomination of you.
That's fine.
Okay.
We're good to share. Like I said, I've done it before, so we'll just share it around.
okay.
Thanks, Beth.
Well,
Thanks, Beth, for offering, because you were so kind last year to offer and encourage me, and now you're willing to step up and relieve me too. So that's really nice.
Oh, well, I appreciate your enthusiasm. It's very nice. And
yeah,
Well, I do
Okay.
what I can.
so all those in favor of the chair remaining? Myself. Say aye.
I,
Aye.
Bye. Bye.
And vice chair nominations, Christina Minetti. All those in favor, say aye.
I,
Bye.
Aye.
Am I supposed to say aye? I suppose aye.
You can, you can.
As long as you don't say nay, we'll be okay.
ballot that we have.
Yeah. Okay, great. We've got chair and vice chair nominations taken care of. Next meeting, I'm understanding that the staff would like to call this our meeting for February, unless something comes up that we need to come in and discuss. But otherwise, we'll go to March. And
Good.
that date would be,
I'm trying. Calendar's not, that would be March 23rd, the fourth Thursday.
okay, March 23rd. For the next meeting, unless, of course, we're called into a additional meeting in the meantime. Are there any other comments or?
Yes, I have a comment, not about the meeting time or anything, but before we adjourn, I do have something to tell you and ask.
Okay,
So we talked a while back about contacting Little Church on the Prairie about having the community designation. And so I did talk to them, and they told me that they had just brought it up at their board meeting. And I was surprised because I hadn't yet talked to them, and they just brought it up of their own initiative, I guess. And they decided that they didn't want a community designation. And she told me that it was because they were afraid they wouldn't be able to do anything to the building. So I explained to them, it doesn't mean that you can't do anything to the building. It's just a kind of honorary designation. And, it can even be, revoked or not revoked, but like kind of canceled if it needs to be. And I encouraged them to, well, she said they would consider it again. And I sent her the information, from the website about what it actually means. So I don't know if there's anything that you'd like me to, relay to them. I'd be glad to hear. I don't know what else I can do. It would be nice to have some more designations, but it seems many people are afraid that it means something more than it does.
And I've talked to the powers that be at Colonial Center. And I have not heard anything back from them. But I don't think I've talked to anybody else. So I'll hunt that one down again. And see if there's anybody else I can get a hold of. Fort Steilacoom's already has a community designation. It's too bad it isn't a pull-up designation to give it some preferential treatment, but we gotta continue on.
That's it.
So-
Christina, it's Joan here. I don't think you have to follow up with Little Church. It sounds like you've done your due diligence, and I imagine that once they recognize the difference between the two types of designation, that they will feel comfortable with
No.
going ahead.
That would be nice. I'll just write again because I didn't get any confirmation that she actually got the information sent. So just ask them, and I'll say, that we're here if they have any questions. I also, before we adjourn, I also have one other comment to make about the heritage tree designation. If that's okay, can I mention now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and as I understand it, the heritage tree designation is kind of similar in that it doesn't afford any protection to the trees. I mean, if you want to cut down a heritage tree, all you have to do is get a permit.
Get a permit.
Yeah, so that's obviously not very good. But the thing I wanted to point out is that people have to have some guidance as to what kind of tree should be a heritage tree, because a council member, Brandstetter, at one of the council meetings, he was saying that, of course, it goes without saying that the locust trees planted around Fort Steilacoom Park and along the I guess the hospital road there, that they should be heritage trees because the wife of I don't know who exactly, the wife of Mr. Spieth, whose wife planted those trees? Do you know?
No.
Well, in any case, the problem is that those are locust trees, and locust trees are actually invasive, and they're coming to the end of their life. So they're actually like on their way out. They only live approximately 100 to 120 years. So, we don't want to be giving a special designation to like invasive species that we should be getting rid of, because they take over, they seed, they spread by runners, and they're toxic actually. So we should discuss whether or not the tree is actually suitable, because we don't want to be rewarding things like locust trees.
That's a good point. I live with locust trees. They are, when you said locust trees, I said, who in heaven's name would ever consider them a heritage tree?
Exactly. I mean,
they're dreadful.
they have some nice flowers, but they have thorns, they're toxic, they spread like crazy, they take over everything. They're just kind of a nightmare.
They are.
Well, and they're not native too, so
Exactly. Plus they're not native, obviously.
let them go their natural way, and when they go, then replace them
Keep
with
them
something
mowed down.
that's more appropriate.
Well, actually, they should be cut down because while they're on their way out, they're spreading,
Yeah.
and, they're very problematic to get rid of, and they don't rot underground for 75 years, Yeah, because they have this toxin that the insects or whoever, the worms, they don't want to eat. So actually, they should really be gotten rid of, and they have to be injected with poison so that they don't spread by runners after they're cut down.
Yeah,
So-
so we probably need to find some way to acknowledge them, you know, because they got planted when people didn't think about stuff like this, like non-native invasive species and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think that they need to be like protected. I think that would be a mistake.
Yeah.
But you know, to maybe have a whole little thing at the park that says this is why they were taken out and here's what they look like, and it seemed like a good idea at the time, and this is what they're being replaced with. And just let it be part of the story. So
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree. Any other comments tonight? Next meeting, March 23rd. Unless otherwise notified. Call this meeting closed.
Karen,
Yes.
do you have, I haven't